Hi guys, and welcome back to Movies That Matter with the Viking. And Zack Snyder's Justice League, of course, we know it's coming out in 2021. And Zack has a new trailer to come out yet. Teasers, posters, the marketing hasn't really kicked off yet. But of course, we've got Justice Con coming at the end of this month. And then after that, we've got DC fandom. So we're definitely going to see more information, maybe more trailers regarding the film. And that's brilliant. I absolutely can't wait. But Zack Snyder, as he always does, he always addresses people through his Vero account. He replies to questions, to comments, and it's interesting. It's actually fun to see his response to some of the questions. And he's a fans director. He really is. He knows what the fans like. He engages. He talks. He's just really a good guy. How many directors that you've loved or actors would engage with their fan base as much as he does? I think it's absolutely great, and that's why he's one of my favourite, because there's always a possibility that you can engage with Zack, and he doesn't play this card like he's this big director when he is, and he doesn't have to be snobby or mean or anything like that. You know, he's a very good guy, and anything you hear from actors, actresses, crew members who've worked with Zack have nothing but good things to say about him. But Zack was asked a question, a very interesting question on Vero. Assuming that your cut of Justice League somehow got released back in 2017, how different would it have been from the one that we're going to see in 2021? I mean, have you made the certain compromises in order to release your cut, or are we going to see it exactly like you intended it to be? And that's a really great question. And I just want to say one thing before we get into what Zack said. The film in 2017 was coming off the back of a critically butchered Batman vs Superman. It was. Bloggers, YouTubers, they were all giving Batman vs Superman a bad time. And this resulted in Warner Brothers being reactionary. It really did. They fucked with Suicide Squad months after that. You know, because they thought that fans wanted one thing, because they were listening to bloggers and YouTubers instead of listening to their core fan base. It took them 4 years. It took AT&T to come in actually and listen to the core fan base and see what we actually wanted. We wanted the Snyder Cut, we wanted the Ayer Cut, and now they're finally making up for what Warner Brothers did wrong. They fucked over Zack Snyder, they fucked over the cast, the crew, they fucked over the fans. But now everything is being made right. But the film in 2017, Zack's original Justice League script, he had to rewrite with Chris Terrio, because Warner Brothers didn't want this, they didn't want that in that script, because they wanted it more lighthearted, more fun, probably music, better, just wanted to make it more into a Marvel film. When DC has tried to be Marvel, or tried to be fun, or tried to be goofy, it's never worked out for them. Look at the Batman and Robin film. Look at Justice League. When they try and do those things, when they try and change the direction that they're going in, they always fail. When they stick to dark, gritty, realistic tones and characters, like David Ayer said before, they do brilliantly. Characters that you can relate to. So that 2017 film that was coming out was shot by Zack Snyder, the one we were supposed to get. Yes, it was written by Chris Terrio, but it had implications from the studio. It had orders. Zack Snyder had to tick boxes, got to do with what Warner Brothers wanted in that film. So it wasn't 100% going to be Zack Snyder's film. The same way that Batman vs Superman, it was 100% his film, but they cut 30 minutes out of the film. They made him to cut 30 minutes, and then we got the 2.5 hour runtime, and then we see it in the Ultimate Edition. We're like, what the fuck? This is a much better film. That's kind of a similar thing. They put restrictions on Zack Snyder when making Justice League. Now, I did say this, after the reviews of Batman vs Superman, Zack Snyder was implementing more light-hearted tones into his Justice League film, and that's true Jason Momoa's Aquaman, true Ezra Miller's Flash. That was going to happen, and people who visited the set of Justice League in London in 2016-2017, Zack had taken the criticism on board and was implementing more hopeful and fun, if you want to use that word, into Justice League. He wasn't going completely like Marvel, but he was implementing more hopeful tones. And that's okay. And I said that's what was going to happen with Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, because he would have listened to the reception of Batman vs Superman, and that's 100% okay. But what happened was there was boxes that needed to be ticked from Warner Brothers. Zack would have had to tick those boxes. But this question on Vero is actually brilliant, because Zack gave us an unbelievable answer. Zack said 2017 all compromise. Now, what that means is that the studio was getting involved. So it wasn't 100% his vision of these characters and of the story. It wasn't the original story that he wanted to tell. Now, it would have been directed by Zack Snyder, it would have been all Zack Snyder scenes, but it would have had stuff from the studio, which would have then resulted in it not being completely what he envisioned and what him and Chris Terrio wrote for the script. No compromise. So, Zack was referring to Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2021 being 100% his vision. His uncut, unfiltered vision that Warner Brothers can't tamper with, because it's not under Warner Brothers, it's under AT&T and HBO Max. They're letting Zack Snyder do his own thing. This is Zack Snyder's playground. This is Zack Snyder's Snyderverse. That's why I think we will get a part 2, we will get a part 3, because the demand is going to be there. Because this is the vision, very much like Man of Steel, very much like Batman vs Superman. His tone, his vision for these characters, and that's what's going to stand out in 2021. It's not going to have 30 minutes cut out. It's not going to have gags added to it, jokes, things that he didn't originally want. This is what he can do, because he doesn't have to live up to critical reception. He doesn't have to live up to box office hype, or this box office needs to hit this certain amount by this time, or it's a failure. He doesn't have to listen to any of that shit or do any of that shit anymore, because it's on a streaming service. And that's why I love. There's no that added shit, because a clickbait article can't come out saying Zack Snyder's Justice League didn't make blah 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 in opening weekend. Because that's what was going on in 2016, and that's what affected Batman vs Superman in terms of box office, in terms of hype, was people just talking negatively about stuff that didn't really matter at the end of the day. All that matters was the film. And people had this judge's basis on whether it was like Marvel or whether it was not. And that's what I hated around that time. Some of the bloggers I listened to, some of the YouTubers, they were at that shit, and I hated it, and it's what turned me off them, because it was so clear that they were being biased. But the 2017 version that we were supposed to get from Zack Snyder, if everything went the way it was supposed to be, if he didn't leave, if Josh Whedon didn't come in, it was his film, but it wasn't really. He gave in to what the studio wanted. But this also tells us that Zack Snyder in 2016 shot 2 films. He shot the one that Warner Brothers wanted, and also the one that he wanted. So there's so much shit that probably wouldn't have ended up in the 2017 version from Zack Snyder, but he already had it shot in case there would be a director's cut or an extended edition, just like the Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition. So Zack was thinking ahead, and he wasn't stupid. So he shot a studio version of Justice League. He also shot, say, a fan's version or his version. So he probably shot every scene twice, with his dialogue and with the studio dialogue. So there's so much of this film that we have not seen at all, or that we know of, because Zack Snyder is still going to go back and add more scenes. He's going to add additional photography. He's going to add additional dialogue. That gets me really, really intrigued, really interested in what's going to come. And if you doubt this, man, go look at his other films. Watchmen had a director's cut. Sucker Punch has a director's cut. There's even another cut that he says is his ultimate edition of that film, the one he's solely happy with. Batman vs Superman even has scenes that didn't make it into the ultimate edition, and Justice League will be the same. So I know that he got a lot of backlash for Batman vs Superman. I know he had to implicate some studio preferences into Justice League, but he also did his own thing. He also shot his own thing, and that's why in 2017 it would have been a compromise to release that film. It would have been Zack Snyder, and he probably would have promoted that film and marketed it and said that was his, but solely it wouldn't have been the one that he intended in releasing. It wouldn't have been the true sequel to Batman vs Superman. But now with 2021, he has complete freedom. He has the backing of AT&T, the backing of HBO Max, and he's allowed to do his own thing. He's allowed to edit it in the way he is. Remember, he's a 5-hour assembly cut. He can put in things that probably he wouldn't have been allowed to put in. His additional photography is supposed to be minimal, but it's supposed to be with the big players, which is Batman and Superman. So probably some dialogue scenes. So that'd be really, really cool. So there's so much of the 2017 film that we haven't seen. There's so much from the Zack Snyder's 2021 film that we haven't seen, and I know we've seen images, stills, the little clip of the trailer, but there's so much we haven't seen. There's so much about this film that we don't know about, because it was cut, it was chopped, it was changed, it was just made a joke of, but finally now it's going to be made right in 2021. And Zack Snyder, no compromise. 2021, Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be uncut, unfiltered Zack Snyder. And it's nearly a good thing that we are where we are right now, where we have HBO Max. TNT are involved, because we actually get to see Zack Snyder do his magic, and maybe even see a part 2 and a part 3, which would be absolutely brilliant. But remember, guys, 2017 would have been Zack Snyder, but it would have had Warner Brothers implications. It would have had Warner Brothers noses in it. The 2021 version is not by Warner Brothers, it's by AT&T on HBO Max, and they're letting Zack Snyder do his thing because they listen to us as a fan base, and that's absolutely brilliant. We get to see more than we would have got to see in 2017. But guys, let me know your thoughts on Zack Snyder saying that 2017 would have been a compromised film, and 2021 is not a compromised film. It's not. It's going to be his thing, his vision for us as the fan base. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, come follow me on all the social medias, and don't forget, guys, HBO Max, AT&T gave us the Snyder Cut.